Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. Today you're with me, I'm Rungtip Chonapalai, with the update of academic assault. The two men who assaulted the Thammasat law lecturer, a member of the campaign to amend Thailand's lèse-majesté law, has turned themselves into police custody today. Meanwhile, the rector of the university insists he will not ban any academic movements on campus. Supot and Supasirarat are the twin brothers who assaulted Associate Professor Warajet Pakirat in a parking lot of Thammasat University's the Thapachan campus. 30 years of age, they turned themselves into Chanasongkham police today and admitted they threw punches at the law lecturer because they were against the activities of the Nitirat group. The Nitirat movement, composed of law lecturers from Thammasat, are supporting amendment of Article 112 of the Criminal Code, also known as the lèse-majesté law. Police charged the two with assault, but they were released after questioning. They will both be summoned again when the medical support reports on Warajet arrive at the police station, and the case will then go to court. Supporters of the Nitirat group massed at Thammasat University today to support Warajet, who did not come to campus today. The Thammasat Alumni Association also wrote an open letter condemning the attack as ruthless and asking all parties to accept different ideas and ideologies in society. Professor Somkit Lertpaitun, rector of Thammasat University, insists the campus will remain open for all academic activities, yet security will be tightened. The government insists it will not push for constitution drafters who are for the government, while all parties in parliament say the articles about the state and the monarchy will not be amended. Deputy Prime Minister Chalermyut Bamrung says members of the charter's drafters will be fully independent when amending the charter. However, the laws on lèse-majesté, both in the constitution and in the Thai criminal code, will not be touched in any way. Earlier, Watana Meungsuk, a Pheu Thai MP and a member of the Constitution Amendment Committee, says the Constitution Court and the Administrative Court should be scrapped and become departments within the criminal court. Deputy Prime Minister Chalerm today supported the idea and said Thailand should have a clear check and balance system. Following a Constitution Amendment Committee meeting, MPs from both sides of the House and senators agreed that articles about the state and the monarchy in the Constitution must not be amended. Parliament is scheduled to convene on this matter 30 days from now. However, the Democrat MPs are saying independent organizations should also remain as they are, while also speculating the government will mobilize charter drafters to benefit certain political figures. Meanwhile, Parliament today passed a law to allow the government to borrow 350 billion baht for post-flood development and the controversial FIDF debt transfer decree, which allowed the transfer of 1.14 trillion baht debt to the Bank of Thailand. A section of the abandoned elevated road and train system known as the Hopewell project collapsed today, resulting in delays to inbound trains. The State Railway of Thailand will now demolish the more than 20-year-old series of derelict stanchion along the Vipavadi-Rangsit Road. The State Railway of Thailand, or SRT, will now ask the Engineering Institute of Thailand to inspect the remaining stanchions of the Hopewell project before starting a process of demolition. Yuthana Thapcharan, governor of the SRT, says a full investigation of the case is underway and suggested the collapse may have been caused by the theft of steel, including nuts and bolts. The removal of the nuts and bolts reduced the strength of the steel beam bracings, making them vulnerable to vibration from nearby passing. The concrete beam collapse caused delays to inbound trains today. Locals say they heard a loud noise before the area around Wat Saminari school was covered with dust. A homeless man who locals claim resides under the beam was fortunately not there at the time of the collapse. No other injuries were reported. Since commencement of the rice subsidy plan, the governor has already spent over 100 billion baht to purchase rice from previous harvests and expect to spend further 150 billion. However, the quality and price of export rice still decreasing, and question of the quality and competitiveness of Thai rice exported. During the election campaign in July 2011, Pheu Thai Party has announced the rice subsidy plan, promising to buy every grain of rice from farmers and guaranteed to buy white rice at the price of 15,000 baht per ton. Since winning the election, the plan has already spent 100 billion baht to purchase rice from the previous harvest and plans to spend more than 150 billion baht for the second crop starting today. However, the rice industry situation has worsened since the flooding which damaged around 10 million litres of rice paddy. Once the water subsided, farmers immediately replanted rice, affecting the quality. Furthermore, the subsidy scheme includes both the first and second crops, encouraging farmers to sow and harvest faster than normal. The quantity of rice exported in 2011 was around 10.5 million tons, with the forecast rice exports this year is decreasing to 7 million tons due to India and Vietnam increasing their rice exports. Total rice exported is also reducing. In December 2011, Thailand exported 450,000 tons, but in January this year, the exported amount was down more than 30%. When compared international rice prices, Thai rice is considered more expensive than other exporters. Even though Thai rice has been considered premium quality, the price of more than 17,000 baht per ton is about 4,000 baht more than rice from Vietnam, which is aggressive trying to expand its rice market. Concerns were raised whether Thai rice will be able to compete in the world market, and the rice pledging scheme is causing sales of exporting the rice to decline, provide sufficient cash flow for farmers, and rice quota swap system does not benefit farmers but wholesalers. Associate Professor Somporn Isivilanon, a rice expert and senior fellow from the Knowledge Network Institute of Thailand, expressed his concern about the government's rice subsidy scheme. He said that Thailand is likely to lose its premium rice market and suggested that the government should have a long-term plan to reduce production costs and focus more on research and development. Here's more.
The government has very wrong hypothesis that when the government raised the price of the paddy, and then the export price should be increased. But I think now the pattern of the government have done so far is that the government tried to build up monopoly power in terms of paddy market, and also create monopoly in terms of the export market. So far, in the past 6 months, I think the market haven't conformed with the Thai hypothesis. The rice price in the international market still going down, and even the paddy price going up, but the market price at the farmer can sell still very low, than the government have raised the price. Yes, that's the better way the government should do, but so far I think the budget for research still be cut due to government have to use money for funding preparation.
And now we are back to the Hopewell News. The Hopewell project was launched in 1990 under the General Chachai Chunhawan government. The Hopewell project was a concession-based contract aimed at solving traffic congestion, but it was never completed and continues to incur heavy penalties. The Hopewell, or the Elevated Broad and Trench System project, was launched nearly 23 years ago in the General Chachai Chunhawan government. The project designed as a concession aiming to reduce traffic congestion. The Hopewell Holding Company in Hong Kong was the winning bidder with 5.3 billion baht offer, and they signed the 30-year contract. Hopewell construction began in 1990 and stopped in 1999. It was to be built in 5 phases and was planned to be nearly 60 kilometers long in total. The recent collapse of part and the Hopewell elevated train system occurred in a section of 19-kilometer phase 1 that sits between Yomarat and Don Mueang. In 1991, when the Prime Minister Anand government investigated the concession contract and discovered that it contained inappropriate monopolistic conditions, this meant that the transfer of the required land for construction to the Hopewell holding could not be processed. The following year, the Minister of Transportation announced the termination of the Hopewell project and assigned to the Mass Rapid Transit Authority of Thailand to take over. Once in office, Prime Minister Chuen Lik Phai's administration revived the Hopewell project in 1995. However, the construction was plagued with insufficient funding, insufficient sources of investment, construction delays, as well as failures to meet required standards. In 1997, Prime Minister Chawlit Yongjayyut's government terminated the contract with Hopewell Holding once again, thus putting an end to the construction. In the same year, Prime Minister Chuen Lik Phai, to his second term in office, attempted to move forward with the Hopewell project once again, but only managed to complete 13% of it. Finally, the Ministry of Transportation formally cancelled the contract with Hopewell Holding in 1998. Today, about 100 Burmese in Bangkok protested in front of the Myanmar embassy against the China-led construction of 2 controversial oil and gas pipelines through military-ruled Myanmar. Protesters say that the government will not use the profits from selling the gas to benefit the country and to develop the Rakhine people in the Rakhine state. The deal is expected to provide the military, which has ruled the country since a 1962 coup, with at least $29 billion over 30 years. Rights groups said that Myanmar people expect the military government to use the profits to serve their own purposes, like buying arms. They also point to the land confiscations to make way for the pipelines and claims that the Myanmar military will use forced labor to construct the pipelines. The protest organizer said that he doesn't hold out much hope that Aung San Suu Kyi will bring much change to the country because he doesn't believe the good parties will win the upcoming election due to the remaining power of the current rulers. One pipeline will carry oil from the Middle East and Africa, which will be offloaded from tankers at a Myanmar port and then piped directly to China, and the capacity of the other pipeline will be able to bring 12 billion cubic meters of Myanmar gas every year to China. Britain's Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, met Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra in Bangkok today in a bid to strengthen 400-year-old friendship and economic partnership between the two countries.
The two exchanged views on cooperation in trade and investment with the aim of enhancing relations between Thailand and the United Kingdom. The Prince will also attend a welcome dinner hosted by Thailand's Princess Maha Chakrisirinthorn at the palace in Bangkok tonight. The Duke of York met the Thai King and Queen yesterday and presented a congratulatory message from Britain's Queen Elizabeth II for the King's 84th birthday. During his 5-day visit to the country, Prince Andrew is expected to meet Thai business leaders as well as major British companies operating in Thailand, such as Tesco Lotus. According to a report by the British Chamber of Commerce, Thailand and the UK have bilateral trade averaging £3.5 billion sterling a year. That's $5.6 billion US. The UK remains the top European investor in Thailand, while Thai investors choose the UK as their #1 place in Europe to grow a business.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rungtip Chonapalai. Sawadee ka.